afternoon on this Thursday, November 14th. I'm Yumna Naufal and these are today's headlines. Future Movement leader Saad Hariri slams Hezbollah chief Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, saying the March 14 alliance will not give his party any legitimacy to its policies. Shia Muslims around the world gathered for the annual celebration of Ashura, commemorating the death of Imam Hussein, the Prophet Muhammad's grandson. And the new date for Geneva II is set, December 12th, with Russia asking for a political dialogue that can resolve the Syrian crisis. Former Prime Minister Saad Hariri is dismissing accusations by Hezbollah Secretary General Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah that Saudi Arabia is blocking the formation of the government while awaiting the outcome of Syria's war and talks between Iran and world powers. Hezbollah Secretary General Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah made a series of stances. The least to be said about them is that they are pipe dreams that have nothing to do with facts and truth, but are only illusionary and made-up ideas aimed at concealing the main reason obstructing the formation of the government. Hariri released that in a statement. The Future Movement leader also added that we will not be Hezbollah's partners in a government that covers its participation in fighting against the Syrian people, or one that covers its violation of the national consensus reflected in the Babda Declaration. Shia Muslims around the world gather for the annual celebration of Ashura, commemorating the death of Imam Hussein, the Prophet Muhammad's grandson. The Imam was killed in the 7th century at the Battle of Karbala in present-day Iraq, a key moment in the split between the Sunnah and Shia sects of Islam. During Ashura commemorations, details of the battles are retold or recreated in passion plays that bring wails of sorrow and pity from the crowds. On that occasion, Hezbollah leader Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah made a public appearance for the second day in a row, describing the conditions set by the March 14 alliance as crippling and saying his party is fighting in Syria in defense of Lebanon. Describing Syria as the protector of the resistance, Nasrallah said, "As long as the reasons stand, our presence in Syria remains." Secretary General Ban Ki-moon warns that the conflict in Syria is having a serious impact on neighboring Lebanon, citing increased cross-border violence and broader threats to stability and security. Ban said the spillover of the 2.5-year Syrian conflict has caused more than 800,000 Syrians to flee to Lebanon, straining the country's finances and increasing social pressures. In a report to the UN Security Council circulated on Wednesday, he condemned the shelling, the shooting and aerial incursions into Lebanon and called on all parties to respect the border. He said the shelling had injured 1 Lebanese citizen and caused material damage. The Lebanese armed forces also reported continued smuggling of weapons across the Lebanese-Syrian border. The UN chief reiterated his call on Hezbollah militants to stop fighting in Syria, where they are supporting President Bashar al-Assad's military. A long-delayed conference aimed at ending Syria's now 32-month conflict will be held in Geneva on December 12th, according to a Syrian government daily. However, a source in the Syrian government declined to confirm the report. The international community has been seeking for months to convene a Syria peace conference dubbed Geneva II, but proposed dates have come and gone with no progress. More than 120,000 people have been killed in the armed uprising that erupted in Syria after the brutal crackdown of Bashar al-Assad on protesters demanding his departure from power. Russia and Egypt insist a political solution is the only way to end the war, with Moscow's top diplomat calling for peace talks to be staged as soon as possible. Russia wants an international conference to open a political dialogue that can resolve the Syrian crisis. This is what Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said during a visit to Cairo. And Egypt's deposed President Mohamed Morsi says he was kidnapped by the military and those who removed him from power committed treason against the whole nation. Morsi said he intended to sue the army-installed authorities and that there can be no stability in Egypt unless the military coup is eliminated and those responsible for shedding Egyptians' blood are held accountable. In the letter, Morsi says he was kidnapped by the Republican Guard on July 2nd, a day before he was formally removed by the military, adding he was held at a naval base for 4 months. Mohammed al-Damati, one of the lawyers Morsi met, said the president plans to take legal measures against the coup, and this will be up to the defense team in the near future. Morsi has so far not agreed on which lawyers will represent him at the trial, which is set to resume on January 8th. Meanwhile, Egyptian authorities plan on lifting today the nation's 3-month state of emergency and nightly curfews. Attacks against Shias, including a suicide bombing, kills 39 people in Iraq despite massive security deployed for one of the holiest days of their faith. The bloodshed comes as a flood of worshippers thronged the central shrine city of Karbala for the climax of Ashura. The suicide bomber struck in a Shia majority area of Diyala province north of Baghdad, killing 30 and wounding 65. Earlier, coordinated blasts in the town of Hafriya, south of the capital, killed 9 people, while twin bombings in the northern oil city of Kirkuk wounded 5. The commemorations were due to wrap up in early afternoon, but security measures have been stepped up while more than 35,000 soldiers and policemen are deployed to Karbala and surrounding areas. And provincial authorities expect 2 million pilgrims, including 200,000 from outside of Iraq, to visit Karbala in the 10 days leading up to Ashura. Now for news around the world in brief. The United States says relief channels were belatedly opening up to the typhoon-ravaged Philippines as President Barack Obama urges Americans to dig deep, and other countries are upping up their aid. On the ground in the shattered city of Tacloban and around the central Philippines, survivors are desperately pleading for the basics of life, from food and water to clothes and medicine, and security to protect them from mobs pilfering what little aid is getting through. U.S. officials say the aid operation is slowly getting into gear after daunting logistical challenges posed by shattered ports, roads, and communication infrastructure. The U.S. State Department designates Nigeria's Boko Haram and a splinter group named An-Nasaru as a foreign terrorist organization. The U.S. on Wednesday said Boko Haram had links to Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb and is responsible for thousands of deaths in northeast and central Nigeria over the last several years, including targeted killings of civilians. It added that Ansaru had earlier in 2013 kidnapped and executed 7 international construction workers. Now, Boko Haram, which translates as Western education is sinful, stepped up its attacks against civilians and government installations this year, prompting the government to declare a state of emergency in the states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa last May. The Victoria's Secret Angels worked their magic on the catwalk, weaving between chart toppers Taylor Swift and Fall Out Boy, and some fancy sets and stage tricks, yet somehow keeping the spotlight mostly on themselves. The elaborate wings, shiny sequins, and strategic flashes of skin certainly helped. Oh, and those Nicholas Kirkwood and Sophia Webster stilettos had the models towering over everyone else as well. Swift donned a Union Jack costume and a sparkly silver mini dress, but she never put on the lingerie that makes this annual fashion show so famous. Favorite models Carly Kloss, Joan Smalls, Alessandra Ambrosio, and Dudson Croas paraded in outfits, maybe a better word is get-ups, that fit themes of snow angels, British invasion, shipwrecked, snow angels, Parisian Nights, Pink Network, and Birds of Paradise. This was the 18th Victoria's Secret Fashion Show, and it will be shown as a 1-hour special on CBS on December 10th. Coming up next, we talk online collaborative with social media consultant Mohammed Hijazi. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Online Collaborative is an initiative that started as a student club at the American University of Beirut and has gained an increasingly strong reputation. Seeking to group social media enthusiasts and experienced individuals in the digital media world to promote proper digital citizenship through making the most of social media in the best ways possible. Well, this month, the Online Collaborative celebrates its 3rd anniversary. And social media consultant Mohammed Hijazi, who is also the chief collaborator of Online Collaborative, is here to tell us how it all started. Mohammed, can you tell me how a student initiative group became a leading platform for social media organizing events now?
First of all, Yumna, I'd like to thank you for having me today.
Hey.
As for the Online Collaborative, it started off as a group of students who just wanted to organize events and organize a community for the people who are on social media in Lebanon. And back then in 2010, we didn't have something that was very organized and something that was really unified. So a group of bloggers, including myself, we started a club at the American University of Beirut. And what we did is we started our first conference, which was called Blogging Lebanon. And this conference basically attracted so many different bloggers, including the British ambassador at the time, Frances Guy, who had some troubles with her social media because she had different opinions on her blog. And that's basically how we started with
the student initiative that started off in AUB now has pioneered a lot of events, including the very now famous social media awards, but I know there's also Greek Fest. Can you tell me a little bit about Greek Fest?
Geek Fest?
I said Greek Fest. I meant Geek Fest. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's no problem.
We should have a Greek Fest.
So Geek Fest is basically, it's not our own event. It's an initiative that happens in different countries all over the world, and it just anyone or any group of people can organize a different edition of Geek Fest. For the past 2 years, we've been organizing Geek Fest in Lebanon, and each time we have a different theme related to being geeky. Last year it was about fashion and music, and this year it was more about food.
Okay, more about food. Everybody's a geek food, or food geek, I should say. Okay. I'm a food geek. I should have been there. I know tomorrow's the 3rd anniversary of Online Collaborative, and I know you're throwing a big party to celebrate this. Are you expecting anything specific? How do you prepare for such a big event?
Well, actually, we're very excited, and we have a lot of great partners on with us, and we're happy to be sponsored by Converse International for the event. And they're helping us throw this party for everyone to come and enjoy their time and just to chill out and meet different people from the online community.
Can anybody who's watching, can anybody attend, or do you have to register?
Anyone who's active online can go on ahjaz.com and request a ticket. The event is happening tomorrow night, so anyone can actually attend. Is
there anything we can expect from this event, or?
There's going to be a lot of fun, actually, a lot of people meeting, and a lot of opportunities to mingle with different people from different fields. People you might not meet on any different occasion. They might be different age groups or different, religious groups or different just.
It's a good place to network,
yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
The last question I want to ask you is, I know, and this is I commend you for being able to do this. The social media awards, I know right now you're transcending borders, and you might have it in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and different Gulf nations. Can you tell me how you have expanded?
Actually, we were approached by different partners or different people who were excited to host this event in their countries because they think their country lacks something of the sort, and that's how we are now trying to branch out to different countries.
Okay, and so we're hoping that the social media awards that take place in Beirut, where it all started, come back to life next year and do well. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Yumna. And lastly, I just want to thank all of the members of the Online Collaborative who were working so hard for the past 3 years. And I want to mention that they're all doing it voluntarily just to make this community a better, a better place.
And I want to thank Nouri Fai, because according to her article, I was able to write my intro today. So thank you, Nouri Fai. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you for being here, Muhammad.
Thank you, Yumna.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Future movement leader Saad Hariri slams Hezbollah chief Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, saying the March 14 alliance will not give his party any legitimacy to its policies. Shia Muslims around the world gathered for the annual celebration of Ashura, commemorating the death of Imam Hussein, Prophet Muhammad's grandson. And the new date for Geneva II is set, December 12th, as it stands today, with Russia asking for a political dialogue that can resolve the Syrian crisis. You just watching Future Television in English. We're off for the next 10 days for a basketball championship. Make sure you tune in, and we'll see you on the 25th of November for what's making headlines around the world and in Lebanon. Have a good one.
إياك